Hello and welcome to our latest colouring tutorial. This time I'm going to be creating a cover layout for my London album. And you can see that I'm starting here by choosing the stamps that I'm going to use for my layout as well as a rough design. So what you're going to want to do for this technique is have post-it notes, a VersaFine ink pad, alcohol markers, some coloured pencils and some tape or glue. Now, as you can see, I'm using some nice foam back stamps here, and these can stand up to a number of different techniques. Okay, so we're going to start with our foremost image in our layout. With stamping and masking, you're going to want to work from front to back. So I'm inking the stamp up with some VersaFine ink, and this time with smoky grey. With this technique, it works best to have a slightly lighter pad. So stamp it firmly down onto your paper. And then we're going to also stamp our stamp onto a post-it note. Okay, now we're going to cut out the post-it note and we're going to cut round just inside the actual black line. This is going to prevent a white halo. Now, when it comes to doing the London text, what I actually did was made a feature of having this halo by actually cutting a halo around the image. This meant that when we stamped the background stamps, we then had a nice border to work with the technique. So as you can see, we've stuck down our post-it note and we're inking up the London stamp, still using that same VersaFine ink. Now you could choose to stamp this particular text in a slightly darker image, as we're not going to be actually colouring this image in. It will really depend on your layout. So stamp this down nice and firmly. With a clear stamp you can check to see how the ink's actually applying to the page. And then also stamp that onto some post-it notes. Okay, so as you can see, we've completed our layout and we have our mask areas in place. Now we're going to keep those down as we're colouring. So I'm going to start off with a fairly light colour to start with. And with certain pens you'll find that each end has a slightly different hue. So it's worth testing on a piece of scrap paper. So with this pen, the actual fine tip is actually slightly darker, so we're using it for a two-tone effect. Now with gestural colouring, you're not aiming to do a photorealistic rendition. So you're literally going to treat it more like you're actually painting the colour rather than drawing with it. So we're going to start by blocking in shapes and then going back over with detail. So going back in with the fine end, and we're just going to map in some rough texture. The idea here is to give an idea of the texture, not to render it fully. This will give our drawing a much more illustrative feel. Now the pens I'm using here are touch markers, and this particular one is in yellow ochre. As you can see, I'm going back through and adding just a few details. It doesn't really matter which way around you do this, whether you do your detail and overlay your colour over the top, or if you do your colour blocking first. The scrapbook I'm using is from Paper Chase, and I'm literally going straight to the actual card in the scrapbook. There was only minimal bleed through, and that was only in the area of the taxi, as you'll see later. Also note the area that I've left around the London stamp on the post-it note to create our halo. Also, I'm not going necessarily right up to that post-it note when I'm colouring. So with a chisel nib, I'm using it to both do block areas and to actually draw detail. So you can use it up on its point for doing nice straight lines, whereas I tend to use the fine nib more for dotting actions. So going back in with a darker colour, and then I'll actually go in with the next darker shade, which you'll see in the final layout. The idea is on each section that you have a lighter colour and a darker colour, but we keep them relatively separate. They don't blend on this kind of style. I used a number of different pens within this artwork, including Copic shells, Pantone pens and Pro markers. Okay, as you can see here, I've added some detail with coloured pencils. This is literally just to help out with shading and giving a bit of texture to our drawing. With the reds, I actually started with a light pink Copic gel, and then I've actually gone back in with a touch red marker. So I'm just doing the final taxi that we have in the foreground. I'm using a Pro marker in cool grey, and then going back in with a Copic gel black. This will really make the taxi pop out. You want to try and keep the paler colours in the background of your image and bring the stronger colours to the foreground. Which is why if you look at Big Ben, there is only the slightest hint of the black in the roof. And here's our finished layout.